Man. Nah, man. I was sure hoping that Jackson State would pull it out, man. But as I see how this done went down, man. The brothers was doing their thing, and all of a sudden they put somebody in the game who ain't played. Why did Jackson State have to lose like that? I'm just saying, man. The white guy, he pretty much the only white guy on in the game on Jackson State at tight end. Perfect play. They threw the ball to him. He was by himself. Ball hit him right in the hands and he dropped it. Game over. I gotta have a drink. I'm drinking a bottle of water.
So they went the whole season undefeated and lost the championship game.
Man,
Dion
listen.
and Levy, he was there for the last game.
Listen.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of people. A whole lot of people in Black College that wanted to see Dion fail. Listen, man, I'm talking about they celebrated him when he came. But you know how it is, man. Once you start getting that hype, even people amongst his own peers in the SWAC and in Black College, even them, man, even them start hating. Oh, look what he doing. He getting all the attention at Jackson State. Oh, look at it. Oh, they doing all this at Jackson State. Oh, they doing all that at Jackson State. He should be getting these recruits. He Dion. You would applaud him. Then all of a sudden you stab him in the back. You start hating on him before the man even decide to leave. Why don't he share the wealth? Why don't he? They get new stadium, they get new locker rooms, they get new fields, they get new this and new that, all that stuff. Man, it's terrible, man. I got to take the headphones off. Y'all go ahead and talk, man.
Man,
I'm feeling
why we
depressed
got a
right now.
crab in the bucket mentality? That's all I want to know. It's-
Let's ask somebody out there. Listen, y'all, we like to welcome y'all to Boom Radio. We're in the building again. We got our very own overseer, our Bishop, Dr. William Brown in the building. Got the big Eric Big Bros E. Johnson in the building. Your boy Minister Casey here behind the board. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Boom Radio. We here for it. Now, the elder put out a comment. He put out a question. Why? Why do we, talking about us, so-called Afro-American, so-called people of color, we ain't dealing with the 12 charts. That's a different broadcast. Why do we, as a people, have the crab in the barrel mentality? Phone lines are open. Come on, get in on this conversation.
Hey, man, I'm just rest of my day messed up, man.
No, it ain't.
Rest of my day. Listen, man. It's how you lose, man.
Is there?
See this, and this is what happened, right? They down in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
7 seconds left. They on the 30-yard line. They Shadua throw a deep bomb to the corner in the left corner. And Atlanta's very own,
Come on.
Travis Hunter goes up in the air, come down with it. They go into overtime.
Okay, so okay, I'm with you now.
They go into overtime. Game tied in overtime, of course. I mean, Jackson State defense ain't show up today. I'm just beyond. North Carolina ran all over them boys, man.
What?
Ran all over them. But the game was still close enough to win. And then all of a sudden, they win. I mean, they go up 40-something to 30-something in overtime. You on the 2-yard line. You put in a guy who pretty much ain't played all doggone
Great
all
White
day.
Hope.
The Great White Hope. All day he ain't played. Then not only that, he ain't really caught too many passes this season. So this your opportunity, your time to come in. You catch everybody off guard because ain't nobody expecting them to throw you the ball. You ain't even in the scouting report.
Okay.
Wide open by itself. And it wasn't no deep pass. It was from
Out in the
me
flat.
to you.
That closer than the volleyball.
We talking about
net.
like maybe 10 feet.
Hey man, pressure bust pipe.
10 feet, bro. You by yourself in the end zone, 10 feet away. I just lob it to you. Lob. Now ain't no rocket. I lob it to you. And the ball hit you right in the hands. And you just drop it. Well, didn't nobody hit him.
Was he in the end zone?
He was in the end zone.
Would that would have sent it in the second overtime.
Second overtime. See, if you're gonna beat me, don't losing like that though.
Well, Bishop,
Man.
we got to understand that, you know.
Shabbat shalom to everybody, man. Shabbat shalom to everybody on YouTube. Shabbat shalom to everybody that's listening. I'm done. My
Pray for
day
him,
is.
y'all.
I don't want to watch no football. I ain't watching football the rest of the day.
Pray for him. Elder King, get a phone number out, man, so we can get some people in here. Why that we have that crab in the barrel mentality, man.
Y'all go ahead and call in. The phone number here is 404-355-8699. Once again, that number is 404-355-8699. Call in, let us know how you're doing, how you feeling. Call in, give a testimony, because we know
That's it on the air.
we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by our testimony. So if you got a testimony, I want you to call in and give a testimony. We take those too. Amen. Amen.
Hey, Mr. Casey, we heard you talking on the phone, man. You got your microphone on. You forgot to mute your
I'm sorry
microphone.
about that. You know, hey, man, that's why everything is done in decency and order.
Shout out to everybody tuning in on YouTube. Shout out to you, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for support. We're on Boom Radio Live right here, Love 860 AM and at ATL, Georgia. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
We know who it
This
is.
is Eric. I'm calling from Cleveland, Ohio.
What's going on, Eric? Man,
What's going
talk
on,
to me,
E?
man. You gotta
Hey.
make your boy feel a little better, E. I'm disappointed right now.
I heard you say better, and then I heard you say something else, but I don't know what you said.
I said I'm a little disappointed right now. You got to make your boy feel a little better. You got to cheer your boy up,
Disappointed about?
Eric.
Jackson State just blew it.
Oh, yeah, well, it's competitive sports, man.
Come on, Eric,
You
man.
made him
Come
laugh,
on.
though. You made
Eric,
him
you
laugh.
gotta come on, Eric. You gotta come on, man. Come on, man. You gotta motivate your brother, man.
I root for one HBCU school, and that's my school, Morehouse.
Well,
That's who I root for. And I'm a Browns fan, so I know something about disappointment.
Man.
As do
All too
Falcons
well.
fans, too.
let me put you in the timeout. How you gonna put somebody in timeout on the radio?
Hey, real talk though. But I don't know what I know, Eric. I know you pretty much a part of this show like Rick too, man. You call in, but I did want to ask you a question, but I'm gonna let you ask whatever question you have first, or a statement or whatever.
It
you
might
got.
be related. You can go ahead and ask it.
Did you see Emancipation?
I did.
What was your thoughts?
I thought it was a reasonable. I thought it was a good picture. I really did.
Okay.
I know the facts of the background. Did you read the background story of the what it's based on?
No, I didn't until I saw tell the part of the movie when they took the picture.
Peter.
Peter. That's when I realized what the story was about. The famous, slave picture of the brother. But go ahead, brother Eric.
There's only so much you could really show with that limited amount of information, and but we know enough about the factual existence or the past factual existence of people that had to live like that that the movie can never show you just how ugly it really was, and that was an ugly movie, man.
Yeah,
Don't you
man.
think?
I like the angle because I think in this one, out of all the other slave movies, this one, it kind of had some type of like the sprinkling of glory as far as the part of the brothers fighting in the war. Every other slave movie we've seen pretty much only show, you're on a slave plantation, the typical stuff. But this one actually showed with him getting what you would deem as freedom, but having the option of, hey, look, you can either work in the fields without getting whipped, basically almost like, voluntary servitude, or you can fight in the war, you know. And I think that was, to me, that angle was a little different than. All right, I won't tell the movie, y'all. They telling me on YouTube, don't tell the movie. But that was pretty much the angle. What's your thoughts on that?
There, the Union did pay the black soldiers reasonably well most of the time, but the black soldiers, that when they were caught by some of the Confederates, they were treated in ways that are very difficult to describe, man. So that's why I say it was an ugly movie, but they didn't really show just how ugly it could be, you know?
Right.
And it's weird to me that we went from black people being able to fight in the Civil War and own guns because they had to fight, right?
Yeah.
And then after the war was over, they maintained their weapons to World War I when they didn't even want it. They were bickering in Congress about whether black men should have guns to fight World War I. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that, brother.
And then after the 1878 presidential election, Rutherford B. Hayes won it, and Rutherford B. Hayes and his group made that compromise with the Democrats so that they wouldn't go back and start another war, that they would pull the federal troops out of the South, which is what started Jim Crow. Jim Crow started then. Them dang on people down south decided that it was going to be illegal for black men to own guns, and it just got. And it's like the country kept trying to move forward, but there was like a strong group, and they still exist in one way or another. It's like, nah, we're gonna try to keep them down as much as we can.
But you know what Eddie Murphy said? Boss, it ain't a good idea to give him that gun. I'm liable to shoot you with it.
That's Eddie Murphy.
Brother, who would be the one? What political group? Which group were trying to advance as far as black people? There's stories about the Republican Party was more blacks lean more towards Republican in during those times than Democrats. Are those true stories?
Yeah. The Republican Party ran their first president just before Lincoln ran, a guy named Fremont. I think that's his last name, Fremont. It was Free something. And this was the party that Frederick Douglass was a part of. And they lost. But then they came right back with Lincoln and they won it. And as a result of that, when black people got citizenship, our folks stayed down with the Republican Party for the most part for decades, because the Republican Party was based partly on abolitionism.
Wow, okay.
And giving black people the same rights in this world as everybody else. Ulysses Grant out of Ohio, Lincoln was 16th president, Grant was number 18. Andrew Johnson was a bigoted punk who came after Lincoln's death. And it was the Grant administration that worked aggressively to get the 14th and 15th Amendments implemented. One came in while he was president, and one came in right after he was president, and they gave us citizenship and gave us treating us decent, man. Just basic decency, with the exception of they still didn't let women vote. That wasn't decent, but with the exception of that, And then just a couple presidencies later, Jim Crow came into play because they made an agreement with the South because they was crying foul, saying that we'll do better, just pull these damn troops out. They pulled the troops out, and look at what they did.
Yeah. So one last question. I know some of the other brothers probably got questions too. So what changed to direct that, cause the trajectory of black people to start gravitating more Democrat and away from Republican?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. When did they get bought out?
When Franklin Roosevelt, after Herbert Hoover messed up and drove the country into a depression, Franklin Roosevelt and his wife, who was pushing aggressively, she was basically helping run the White House. They put in the New Deal, and even though a lot of the Democrats were still Southern white Democrats, there were a lot of Northern Democrats too. And the New Deal was set up so that everybody would get the same benefits through government that was offered through government, and that pulled in a lot of black people into the Democratic Party. Then after him, his vice president, who became president because Roosevelt died, was Harry Truman. And Harry Truman reinforced that the GI Bills be enforced aggressively because a lot of black folks weren't getting their benefits after they came back from the war. Did y'all already know about that?
Nah, not that part.
That's still going on today.
Well, Harry Truman pushed aggressively to make sure that it was a federal crime for any black soldiers that came back from the war to be denied the GI Bill, and then he integrated the military so that, you know, it wasn't like a black section and a white section. And then shortly after that, there's two more. Eisenhower came in, and even though Eisenhower was a Republican, which is where black people still mostly were Republicans, he had a lot of democratic beliefs. And then this thing happened. Martin Luther King's dad got hemmed up. He was in jail. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dad was hemmed up. He was in jail. The civil rights movement had gotten hot. Kennedy and Nixon were running for the presidency. Nixon, who got a really bad rep that he didn't deserve, Nixon was working hard to get him out. And Kennedy's brother, Bobby Kennedy, went down and somehow negotiated a deal that Nixon was working on too, and got Martin Luther King's dad out the joint. And when that happened, a whole lot of black people converted to the Democratic Party.
Wow.
And stayed there. And then right behind Kennedy's death, Lyndon Baines Johnson put in the Voters' Right Act, which we just lost. We just lost to the Supreme Court, and a whole lot of black folks just stayed down with the Democratic Party after that. That's the timeline right there.
Real quick, explain the Voters' Right Act.
That the states that had a history of discrimination against black people to vote had to register with certain regulations and restrictions to make sure that there was availability for people to get to the polls. So they cut out all the dumb stuff, like, you know, how many bubbles are in this bar of soap.
How many M&Ms in this joke? M&Ms.
But they're trying to shut that down now. They instead of expanding the rights to vote and privileges to vote, a lot of the politicians in the South are trying to shut down more rights and privileges to vote since they got relieved by the Supreme Court of having to submit to the rules of the Voters' Rights Act, like Georgia. All southern states, too, by the way.
Wow. Well, Mr. Casey, you had anything? I think, I don't know, Brother Eric called in. I don't know if he had something else outside of the subject that we were just talking about.
Well, he just called in. He said he had a question for everybody, so I just put him straight on through.
The federal government says that a family of four has to be making $27,000 or less to be considered poor and get government assistance. Using Metro Atlanta as a guide, what do y'all think is more reasonable to be considered a working poor family in the metro area of Atlanta?
60,000.
That's an oxymoron, actually. Working poor.
I think 60,000.
Working poor exists.
Yeah, we understand that, but
I mean, most people are a paycheck away from being out the door.
Amen.
And I'm talking about, and that's two parents working, making at least $120,000 a year.
Middle class.
Mm-hmm.
And they got kids. Like, bro, like the way things have shot up and the way things are, yo, man, $100,000.
Yeah.
ain't really nothing.
Ain't really nothing.
So you talking about $20,000, $28,000?
That's
Man, come on, man.
That's the guy.
That's
the
crazy,
guideline.
man.
Yeah, I thought years ago, and you can help me out on this area because you knowledgeable in this area. But I thought once upon a time in the state of Georgia, the average cost of living was like $28,000.
What,
not
in the
sure.
50s?
I'm not sure.
No,
but
I mean-
before taxes,
Mm-hmm.
if you're making 38 grand in the state of Georgia,
You
that
poor.
is the bottom of what qualifies as economically middle class. Now, that's not taking into consideration that you may have one or two children. But
Yo,
if you're
that-
making 38 grand, you're right before taxes. That's considered right at the bottom.
That's terrible.
That's
bro.
terrible. I mean, that's terrible.
That's terrible because working middle class, if two people making 120,000,
That's what I'm saying. That you still.
that's
They say you way over the threshold though.
that ain't nothing, man.
Ain't
Well, that's why I'm asking y'all. What do y'all live there? I have most of my primary responsibilities are in Sandy Springs. Okay,
Oh well,
so
well you
we
got money.
all have some understanding of what it costs.
Okay.
I think
What do y'all think it should be
I would say at least 60,000.
Let me
That's just my
before
opinion.
taxes?
Huh?
Before taxes.
After taxes.
Okay.
So if you're making 59 after taxes, you should be qualified as working poor, and you should be eligible to some government assistance.
I believe so. I really do.
Depends
What
on.
about the rest of y'all?
I'm gonna let Elder go before, but I'm gonna sit back on this and I'll let him speak first.
I agree. 60, 70.
Yo, you can't find an apartment in the hood
Right.
less than like a G. So an
Nah, that's not
apartment.
true.
What you're not gonna find like they building all these high rises right here on Northside Drive. $1,000 you're not gonna get one of these for no $1,000 a month.
Well, yeah, those, but there are other apartments though.
Yeah, but they're not gonna be.
Family houses. You know, you can get some nice. You can get some for less than a G in the West End, and it'll be nice. But it might be a little bit shaky around you. But it'll be all right.
So Eric, you talking about you think what's going on, Keenan? So you telling me now we talking about around the West End area
What part of West
without
End?
any assistance.
What part?
My niece is renting a 2-family out about 3 blocks from Spelman right now for $900 a month, and she's got the upstairs of the 2-family. She got it's 1 bedroom, it's living room. There is no dining room. It's just a big living room. And there's a bathroom and a kitchen, and she's paying $900 a month. Now that's not her utilities, but that's $900 a month, and most of them over there are around that. So I'm like, it can be done, but we both know that ain't really
Barely done.
That's
It's
like
barely
right at a
done.
G.
Yeah, it's barely.
But and then you
Yo, inflation crazy.
it's crazy. I'm gonna say this like this: if my wife and I, we talking about total incomes, right? 2-parent home, or just it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, if we combine to bring home, let's say, 100K after taxes. I don't want any financial assistance. I'll take some food stamps.
You think? Well, that's what I'm saying. You think you should be eligible for it?
I mean, yeah, I think everybody should be entitled to some food stamps.
reasonable- okay,
Which
so
is reason because
here-
everybody should have the ability to be able to eat. In that regard, not necessarily saying welfare checks or different checks that actually paying money, but to be able to sustain yourself with the natural food, being able to sustain your body. Yeah, I think with a reasonable amount, we can say it all depends for a family of 4. For a family for a reason. Right now with inflation,
200.
no, $800 a month.
$800 in food.
800 food stamps for a family of 4.
Okay.
Man, do you know a gallon of milk is $4?
If your combined income is $100 grand, you think you should be eligible to $800 a month in food stamps?
In this economy, yeah.
Do y'all feel like that too?
Say that again. I was doing a little Promotion. What he said now?
He said if you and Lady Emma brought home $100,000 after taxes, should you be eligible for receiving assistance with food?
$100,000 after taxes.
That's borderline.
That's borderline. I think we could survive without assistance on that.
But I ain't trying to survive no more. We've been surviving all our lives. I'm trying to live. It's the difference between surviving and live. That's what I'm saying. 800.
What do you say? What you say, Eric?
Well, we're not simply just talking about surviving. We're just talking about, how the poverty. What should the working poverty standard be, for somebody to be able to receive government assistance in some way? Like Casey's saying, he didn't say that we should get utility assistance.
Right.
He said food assistance at $800 a month would be reasonable.
Yeah, I mean,
pick up whatever other bills we got on our own.
Yeah, I think that'll work. Especially with the time we're living in now with inflation and everything going on. I think that'll work. Most of us get, if we're working, most of us should have insurance. Most of us, some don't, but most of us should. But I think that could work just depending on the situation. But I don't see that being a problem, not having some type of assistance. But of course, I mean, even if you make over X amount, you can't even get assistance. If you're making 50, maybe 60,000, you can't even get assistance at an elementary school for your kids.
Wow.
Like, you make too much.
Even, man, the fact is that what did you have a family of 5 that had 2 of the kids that need, pre-K or that kind of schooling? Isn't it really costs right now, right, to have aftercare and stuff like that for the kids?
Yeah, it's that's what I'm saying.
That takes away from your.
That's what I'm saying. If you making $100,000 a year to $120,000 a year, and you got children, and say you got 4 kids, 2 of them going to daycare, bruh.
That killed that.
Daycare boy, no joke.
And especially you better hope they're not under a year old, because they gonna hit you up easily around $300 a week.
$300 a week?
Just for the infant.
I don't know about 300, but 250 is real.
That's still a mortgage. That's still less than what you said your niece or somebody paying $900 a month over here in the West End. Now, just man, I got to pay $900 a month, and then I got to pay $1,000 for somebody to take care of my child so I can go make this money.
You go to KinderCare, it's close to $300.
Y'all's broadcast is a real good broadcast for this because it's becoming a popular conversation. In New York City, they just put on the ballot, and it passed, that this was just a few weeks ago, that the government has to do a better assessment of what the actual cost to live at a particular standard is, so that they can better assess how government tax dollars should go for people that need to make it. And in Bronx, New York, which is the most affordable borough in New York to live, and it ain't particularly a nice place, they came up with, it take $83,000 a year just to make it working poor in Bronx, New York.
I'm telling you.
Wow.
So that means there's no money left over.
Nothing.
And Atlanta is not that far away in price.
That's why I'm saying broadcasts like this is what started that movement up in New York City.
$100,000, bro.
We need to get this done. So in Atlanta, where the cost of living is going up much faster than the cost of wages are, which is the same case in New York City. But, New York City is one of the most expensive cities on the planet Earth, not just the United States. But Atlanta's cost of living is going up higher than people's wages are. And Metro Atlanta needs to do something like that too. And broadcasts like this is what gets the conversation going. The last time I rented, I had an apartment in Buckhead, and my 900 square foot apartment, when I left it in 2012, was $775 a month. That same apartment right now is $1,350 a month.
Goodness.
And I didn't have to pay water. The people in there now have to pay water.
Right.
Wow.
And I'm like, man, I didn't know it was. You tend to detach yourself from things when you own your own, and you don't really think about how other people are struggling. Sometimes I had to go back and find that out on my own. I was like, man, I did not know they were, and they have a wait list. It ain't like they charging all this money and only certain groups of people can get in there and nobody else. They got a wait list of multiple groups of people trying to get in that building.
Listen, I pulled up some little stats. It says that cost of living in Atlanta, this is 2022, cost of living in Atlanta, Georgia is 18% higher than the state average and 5% higher than the national average, which is about 12%. It says the summary about the cost of living in Atlanta, Georgia, United States. Family of 4 estimated monthly costs are $3,758 without rent.
Yo, man,
Right there,
I'm telling
bam.
you,
To
bro.
keep everybody clean. That's to keep the utilities on. If you on the bus, that's your bus pass. If you driving, and I really think that might be low because the cost of gas is kind of rough, man.
It says the median income in Atlanta is $52,000.
60 what?
$52,000. A good salary in Atlanta.
But the poverty standard is 27.
Yeah, that is crazy. That mean ain't nobody gonna get no assistance.
Nobody.
Yo,
But that's just it, though. There's a whole lot of people getting assistance because there's so many people in Atlanta that meet that standard. There's millions, there's hundreds of thousands of people in Atlanta that meet that poverty standard.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Let me give out the number here. The number is 404-355-8699. That number is 404-355-8699. We'd love to hear from you. Called in and express your thoughts about the subject that we're having right now at this time. Shout out to our brother Eric for coming on to bring this subject. I think there's definitely something important for us to talk about.
Man. So on the local level, Eric, who could we not necessarily boycott? Who can we start with to try to have a conversation with on the local level to like you say, if I want to bring somebody on this show to have a conversation, who would we start with? Somebody, the city councilman, the mayor, the governor? I mean, where would we start?
I would bring my own councilman in there, and I would bring somebody in from either Catholic Charities or somebody who runs the network of food banks around the area. Jose Williams Group, they don't run food banks, but they give a lot.
But I think they closed down this year, didn't they? They were they were just on the news where they couldn't feed enough people like they would normally do. Like they
can't.
That's what I'm saying. So how can we get them to help when they're the helpless?
He mentioned Catholic Charities. They ain't hurting on Catholic Charities.
They ain't hurting.
Hurting on that.
That one that went over there in Nigeria, he probably.
Leave that Catholic Charities is struggling, man.
Oh, really?
Yes, man. It's the cost. The things that we're talking about right now is going on at a very high level, but there aren't that many people talking about it relative to the number of people that need the help. So that's why I say broadcasts like this are important to get this type of movement going along, because the broadcasts are recorded, they're documented. Sometimes people come on that are directly related to the problem and people that are directly related to solving the problem, and then it starts moving forward. You walk through my neighborhood, which is Sandy Springs on the edge of Dunwoody. There are people in there struggling too, but these are nice cribs.
Yeah,
It's clean. The grocery store.
$300,000-$400,000 homes.
More than that.
I'm at a minimum.
No, more than that at the minimum.
So you
living
living?
like that just
So
10
you
years
living?
ago.
You really living up there, then, Eric?
No, I'm saying that it wasn't like that just 10 years ago, man. The house prices are jumping up so high. That's what I'm saying. And the grocery stores and everything are in good shape. So you're kind of removed. You're kind of removed from that. But everybody's got somebody who's got some connection to some people that are struggling. That person working the register at the grocery store over in Sandy Springs is clean and proper, but a lot of them are going back to cribs where their paycheck is not covering their expenses.
Yeah.
Let me throw a monkey wrench
Yeah,
in
because
right quick.
them eggs is like $6-7 after taxes.
Let me
I
throw a
don't know
little
what's
monkey
going on with them. I'm about to go get me my own chicken.
Yeah.
In the last year, 3 times this has happened to me in 2 different cities. I've been standing behind somebody in line. It's always been a woman. And she started crying because she couldn't pay for all her groceries. And it wasn't no scam. That's happened. I've seen that right in front of me 3 times in 2 different cities in the last year. And at each time, I either asked or she just came out and said it. And she was telling me how, this cost this much 6 months ago,
Yep.
but now the whole bill is $40-something more.
Oh, boy, them oxtails.
I don't even
Them
buy
oxtails about $40 and you ain't get before.
again before. Listen.
Bread.
So
Bread.
So, do you have a problem with this for everybody? Do you have a problem with, and I'm going to speak to this because this is what's going on now. We've sent hundreds of millions, let me say tens of millions.
To NATO.
To Ukraine. Billions to Ukraine. But we're sitting here talking about not being able to feed families in this great city of Atlanta, Georgia. I wonder what the number would be of all the monies that have left just this city to support a war that's not even ours, when that same money could have been used to help programs or help fund what we're talking about now. And I'm just using the war in Ukraine as a catalyst. I know there's many other things that we can pull from.
Don't ask Herschel Walker that question. Ain't no telling what he might liable to say.
I don't know. He may
Let's not get into that.
Yeah, he may turn into a werewolf, because they're cool.
I support the funding of the war to Ukraine because I know where all that wheat and grain goes from the Ukraine when they can get it out.
Mm-hmm.
And those same countries that aren't getting that wheat and grain are coming to us for help. And we could grow a lot of wheat and grain, but we weren't prepared to increase our supply. So you got to do something to help out those. We're all connected to some degree, but you're right in the fact that we haven't done a good enough job helping our own folks right now, because for Jose Williams' group to not be able to, they're never going to be able to feed everybody because the poor ain't going to stop coming. Mm-hmm. But to be that short of a supply, man, it's kind of rough. Do y'all know people? Do y'all know people that truly have to pick which day of the week that they're not going to eat?
I don't know people like per se picking which day. I just know that people have scaled back on how much they buy,
right, and
what they buy.
Yeah.
Normally, if you would eat a pack of chicken in a day, now you're stretching out to 2 or 3 days.
2.5 days. That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So
you still may have a day that you can't eat. Just be like, okay, we just gonna be hungry this day.
Well, not. I won't say that. I will say just you be more mindful of saying, even especially with kids, hey, boy, don't throw that away.
That's right. Hey, you better eat that in peace.
When before
wrap that up and put it in the refrigerator and eat it later.
Right. When before it was like, okay, what not. Now you looking at plates. Mm-hmm. Like, you ain't eat all that rice.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
That type of thing. So
take cold shower instead of hot shower.
No, I haven't talked to anybody like that to that degree, brother.
But
the thing about it may be, I believe there's a lot of people out here who going through, they just don't speak about it.
Yeah, it's people coming to work, literally coming to work and don't have no hot water. You know what I'm saying? Because of gas. Well, that's the one thing I can say that I loved about, being from Florida, living in Florida. Majority of Jacksonville homes are all electric.
Okay.
So you don't have a gas bill or an option of picking. And then now, a lot of people in Florida now, they've gone solar. So that's one thing too, you know what I'm saying? But I believe that what Brother Eric is asking, there are people like that and that are going to work. There are people that I knew.
Next to each other in church tomorrow?
Huh?
That are going to be sitting next to each other at church tomorrow?
Yeah, and I knew a guy, and this was like 2 years ago. He took, and I kept wondering why this guy would take his showers at the job, because at the job they have, showers and weight room and stuff like that. So he would take his showers there, and it wasn't like there were days where he worked out. I'm talking about just taking a shower, and one like, yo, man, Man, the brother's like, man, I can't. My gas bill too high.
Mm.
So he would have microwave. Most of his stuff was microwave, and he took his showers at the job because there was hot water.
Right.
You know, and there's
goodness.
people who
My
go into
kids
LA
doing that at
Fitness
school.
and other gyms taking their shower at LA Fitness and all these other places
Mm-hmm.
because
Bucky's too.
of these situations. Yeah, man.
My Lord, have mercy.
And shoplifting, a lot of the grocery stores, even in the upper class neighborhoods, they're having they're running the cost up because they have to pay for more security because folks are in there stealing.
Yeah, I heard. Wasn't it Philip said they was putting like steaks in the little cases where they got? I was like, well, you got to unlock it.
Wow.
Yeah,
like
man.
like it's in the cell phone case at the store. Like,
My Lord.
Yo, the cheapest beef that I've seen outside of like ground beef. The cheapest beef I've seen was beef. Was it beef neck bones? And they were in the store. They were about $5 a pack,
mm,
and that's because a lot of people weren't eating and buying the beef. They mostly buy the pork ones. But that was like for like a good 5 months. You know, I went in Publix about maybe 2 weeks ago. The beef neck bones have gone from like $4 or $5 to like $10,
Mm-hmm.
and that means people are buying them. So
Is there an apology next to the price? Do you see anything in print that says sorry about this?
no, the cheapest thing that I've seen was the beef neck bones and the turkey tails.
Mm.
In the but now people are switching. You know, we're gonna survive as a
That's
people.
right.
So it's like, oh, I ain't tried them turkey tails. Let me try them.
Turkey
They $4.
tails.
Let me try them. And then you're like, oh, they good. Then you start loading up on them until all of a
Well,
sudden.
let me speak to the brewer in you then.
Well, let's.
Will it be a time when you're going to go and pop up them vein sausages? Can of Spam?
Yeah, protein is protein.
No. I said I'm gonna speak to the brewer in you though. You know what I'm saying? You going. I mean, it's hard.
no, sir.
Listen, my wife told me to pick up some toilet paper. A 4-roll of toilet paper, bro. It was almost $13. Just 4 rolls.
Yo, people are now. And I saw a dude the other day at the job go in the bathroom with his book bag, getting ready to go home, and taking extra rolls of toilet paper that the company that they putting in.
Right.
So that's telling you it is hitting everybody in their pocket. In everybody got their own thing that they dealing with, but it shows that money ain't stretching, man. You know what I'm saying? And that toilet paper at the job is like the roughest toilet paper.
Right.
Yeah.
You
But-
gotta wrap that around a couple
You
of
gotta
times.
do what you gotta do. You know what I'm saying?
I think all of us were born either in the early 70s or the late 60s. Okay.
None of us was born in the 60s.
Okay. Well, I was born in the early 70s, okay? I was 71. That's my delivery year.
That's my
okay?
delivery year, 71 too.
Okay. There were less than 800,000 people in this country that were 90 years or older when we were born. Now there's 2,300,000 people in this country that are 90 years or older. And for the first time, we've got 100,000 people that are over 100. That number has gone up every single year without exception, which means that the cost and those folks aren't as employable as we are today.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to not be as employable pretty soon as we are today as well. But the cost of our lives is still going to continue to grow. And I think it would be a good idea for this broadcast to just spend some time for the next time that the broadcast comes on and just think, what would be comfortable for me, to be able to go in the grocery store, the drugstore, and a handful of other places of necessity and spend a month and then on the broadcast and say, this is what it would cost me to be comfortable and still be able to put money away for that 90 or 100-year-old man that might be around.
Wow.
Because that 90 or 100-year-old person, a lot of them, they're not working, but they're still helping to take care of people. A lot of them are middle-class people, and a lot of them can see reasonably well, hear reasonably well, and speak well. They might be a little bit wobbly coming down some steps, but they can get up them. And, they're helping to take care of people. So you have to take in consideration we're parents, and we might be helping to take care of people too. Not necessarily just our kids, but maybe our brothers or sisters that might be getting kind of having some issues too, and think about what is it going to take to supply that person. For me, I'll be in my 90s in about 40 years.
Yeah, let me ask you this, brother. I think that at one point in time, especially in Atlanta, me, you, and the brothers here, we could get together and say, "Hey, man, we're gonna go downtown. We're gonna get together, put our money together. Get some bag lunches, some toiletries, and things like that, and go be able to just give them out." How impactful, if any, has it been to now we have to go through the county or whoever, commissioner's office or wherever, and we have to pay for permits and all this other stuff to feed. Now you got Jose Williams struggling, all these other people struggling, when in fact we ourselves could still get together as common people trying to love our brothers as ourselves. Now we got this barrier up because now we got to go through them and they got to approve it and all that. I just think at some point that has become like a stumbling block because there's a lot of people that truly, really got to have a love for people that are less fortunate. And there's a lot of churches that have given. There's a lot of individual people that have come up and given. But now with these barriers, you can't give to nobody now.
Well, that hasn't been my experience. My volunteer project, we give away $500 grocery store and CVS gift cards annually, actually quarterly, and we give away no less than $200 a year at $500 per card.
Is that like downtown to the homeless, like going to the?
It's for people who are it's for people that are participating in our volunteer project. And sometimes we have a few left over, and we just give them to people that we feel like giving them to.
Yeah, no. What I was saying was I was talking about how downtown they used to have. Matter of fact, we did it before, but they used to have right off of oh man, there was a shelter that they closed down.
Yeah, across from 5 Points.
Yeah, I think that's where it was.
It's right off the corner of whatever that street is that Forsyth runs into.
It's one up. It's
right
one up near
5 Points in the underground.
It's one up near Peachtree.
One by
by the
what's it called? Chicken Gladys Knight Chicken and Waffles.
It's right behind the old Gladys Knight Chicken and Waffles, a little bit down from J.R. Cricket. You know what I'm talking about, Eric?
I didn't know about that one.
Okay, well it was a parking lot there. It was a hotel, and in between the hotel and the homeless shelter was a parking lot, an empty parking lot, and there used to be at least like 10 groups of just volunteer people that just got together and put their own money together and would feed as many people down there as possible. And all of a sudden it got to the point where they're like, oh, well, now y'all can't do this no more. If you do, you can be fined or go to jail and stuff like that. So they broke that up. Then they said, well, you got to go through downtown to get a permit and approval to give out clothes and feed the homeless. And those were just regular people like us.
Mm-hmm.
And they shut it down.
So if it's bad,
what's the problem with it?
That I don't know. They just said, hey, you have to have.
What's your problem with it that they made that the government made that decision?
Oh, you said what's my problem with it?
The same way they making the same way, like you say, they making it hard for people to vote. They making it hard for us to provide to those who are in need. Yeah, so.
But there is such a thing as quality of life for everybody, and that those homeless shelters and those people walking around asking for food are affecting the quality of life as well. Man, I ain't getting into right or wrong here. I'm just saying we have to take all those things into consideration.
Man, there's so many tent cities right here in Atlanta, man. It's crazy.
And they trying to get rid of all of them, and understandably so.
Yeah, somebody said, one of our YouTube viewers said that they did the same thing on 138 in Stockbridge. They shut it down.
Listen, it's gotten so bad, and I don't want to say these people are scamming, but we all familiar with the Buckhead area. You now have individuals with their kids, like they do on outside of the train tracks. They're standing at the stop signs around these multi-million-dollar homes with signs. I mean, you got a $10 million home and you leave out your house and then you got somebody standing there with their kids with signs saying that they're hungry and that they need help. In Buckhead.
Amen.
Well, that's where the money is.
Yeah, but
If
typically you
gonna
wouldn't see
beg for
that.
money, you need to go where the money is.
Yeah, but certain they're not gonna let people that look like me stand on the corner of 285 and Roswell Road at the intersection and ask for money. But they will allow 50 of people that look like me to stand on 166 or 75 right there on Moreland Avenue or somewhere. I can do it in that area, but people put safeguards in place to not necessarily shun, but I don't need to see that.
Well, it's to protect the people that's up there that's paying taxes, that are good payers, that making a lot of money, that got pulled. And they don't want nobody outside of their $1 million property or anywhere, it's almost like that's an eyesore for the community.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
So what about my community though? Oh,
Well,
so my community is an eyesore anyway.
It's an eyesore anyway. Until they decide to gentrify it.
Again. Same
Y'all
place.
know I ain't against gentrification. We talked about that before. I'm against gentrification being done wrong, but I'm not against gentrification.
Man, listen here, man. I grew up in Perry Home. I grew up in that area. You go over there now, but there's that same land over there that was nothing but projects. Boy, you got $250,000 homes over it. It don't look like nothing. It looked like when we were living over there.
We got
Think that's fair?
about 12 more minutes. I want to ask Brother Eric, we got 5 minutes. That clock slow?
No. That clock is slow. You don't, just like your operating system on your phone.
Uh-huh.
If your phone is a 128 gig phone, you don't get 128 gigs.
Oh
because
man,
the operating
I'm
system,
like, they need to fix this clock in here. But anyway,
I got you back.
let me ask him real quick. Why was the Warnock? Why was that thing so close, man? It shouldn't even be. At one point, Herschel was winning in the beginning. It shouldn't have been that close, man.
The answer is simple in one sentence. There aren't enough people that appreciate the functions of government and how the services work for the public. That's it.
Man, I was finna say.
They vote on hype.
I was finna say Herschel going. I was like, yo, I felt like that day. I was like, Herschel gonna win. This finna be like another Trump situation. Folk finna be upset. They gonna be mad. Herschel about to win. And they talk, man, don't be speaking that into this. Don't be saying that.
Oh, now we believe in speed. Now we believe in prophecy, huh?
They were saying that at the job. Man, I say, man, I'm telling you, it just feel like it, man. It's too close.
Well, that's the answer to the question. 1,700,000 people voted for that dude, and a large chunk of them have a very weak appreciation for the functions of government. If you got a weak appreciation for the functions of government, I could fake you out. That's all I need to know about you. I could fake you out.
Hey, Herschel couldn't fake nobody out.
He faked 1,700,000 people out. What are you talking about?
Herschel faked his own self out.
I think vampires are cool. Vampires be the werewolf.
Yo, man, Herschel.
Hey, man, y'all gonna get y'all shout outs, man. We got
y'all
about
ever
3
had 1
minutes
million
left.
people advocate for you to get a job?
No.
I haven't.
No.
Hey, politics as usual, man.
And 1 million people showed up and said, "Give it to him." Ever.
Politics as usual.
Elder said every UGA fan voted for Herschel.
That might be true.
Hey, listen, you see, he went and got Vin Dooley to stand up for him. Vin Dooley even went to bat for Herschel. So did, had a
For
commercial
his
with him.
death, he sure did.
Yep.
Hey, man.
That whole city up there, too.
Before we get out of here, I got one question, Eric. Are you a werewolf or a vampire?
Hey, Eric, listen, I thought when we going to the Hattie B chicken spot, You supposed to be
Sent
coming.
somebody over here last week too.
No, that ain't what we talked about. We said I was gonna meet you over there.
I'm gonna go with you, man. I'm gonna send somebody over there last
Oh.
week. I'm gonna be home. I'm gonna be home right before Christmas. So give me a heads up on what the food's really like.
Okay. Well, listen. When you on the way, hit me up, man, and we'll try to connect with Bishop and the other brothers, man, and if everybody available, we all meet up over there. Go get some chicken.
Next time I come home, I'll be home for 10 days. I can do that.
But that's what I'm saying. You give us a call on any
I
other
don't.
days.
I don't want to see Eric unless he at the radio station. I done told you.
We got Bishop. We got to trust the process now. Listen. Look how long we got to stay on the phone.
I guess at least I could get him. If I can get him somewhere out, maybe okay, all right.
To eat some chicken.
Yeah, but at least that's the first step.
That's the first step.
I'll take it
Let
slow.
him turn the camera on the Zoom first.
What y'all think I'm a bot? Like I'm a synthetic voice? I'm not.
No, bro, no. But you've been a big, you've been a big part. I've been hearing your voice for a long time, Eric. Not only on this station, but on other different people's stations. So me and you've been rocking for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's good to just see a brother. That's all.
Yeah, I appreciate
Thank
Eric.
you, an AI.
If we get a bigger platform, we will be letting Eric know he will be traveling on the phone.
Hallelujah.
He'll be like Jeff. He'll be like Jeff Johnson. Like
Hey,
Brother Jeff.
Eric, real quick, did you see Hebrews to Negroes yet?
I saw the whole thing.
What did you feel about it? Should we say that for the next show?
Did he watch it? Did he watch all of it?
You watch
3 hours straight?
3 hours straight?
No, I didn't watch it straight.
You treat it like a Netflix, huh?
I broke it up over 3 days, and
That's what you should have did.
Anti-Semitic documentary. I do not believe. I don't think some stuff in there was true, but I don't think it was anti-Semitic.
All right.
Y'all.
No.
All right,
I don't
hey,
think so.
we're gonna talk about that on the next show, Eric. We're gonna talk about that on the next show.
All right, big bro. Appreciate you, man.
I'm ready because I sure saw it. So you keep that in mind.
Peace.
All right,
Peace and
brother.
blessings,
All right. Take it easy, man. All right, everybody, man. We're gonna get up out of here, man. Thank y'all for tuning in once again. Elder Eric, you got something you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
Hey, man, listen, as always, trust in the Lord. Trust in the Lord.
All right, holla at y'all.
Hey, no, Bishop. We got a quick minute. Go and get that information out about the website.
Hit us up at boomchurchint.org. Boomchurchint.org. We are in Atlanta. We Jacksonville. We in Houston, Texas. We in Akron, Ohio. We all over, man. Louisville, Kentucky. Just hit us up. If you're in the Atlanta area, come fellowship with us right here. All right, every Saturday at 11 a.m. Boom
740,
Church.
740 North Glen Street, Fayetteville, Georgia, Suite F.
Absolutely. And go over to YouTube, Boom Church. YouTube, Boom Church, BOMM Church.
That's right.
Shalom.
Shalom.